Hi, my name is Chloe Ahern, and for my second presentation, I'm going to teach you how to make simple English almond tea biscuits. So the best way to start off with a recipe is to get all your ingredients out. For this particular recipe, we don't need very many ingredients. We only need to have flour, sugar, baking powder, eggs, and butter. For this recipe, we're going to need 4 cups of the flour, 1 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 250 grams of butter. For the eggs, we require 2 whole eggs with an additional 2 yolks. The egg whites you can keep in your fridge and reuse them with a different recipe or at a later date. To begin, it's best if you start off with 2 bowls. I've pre-mixed some of my ingredients. Here I have a bowl that has the 250 grams of butter and the 1 1/4 cup of sugar, which I blended with a mixer. Next, we need to add the eggs into our wet ingredients. And now we need 2 yolks. So we're going to separate the eggs, draining out the whites into a cup or a storage container of any kind, and keeping the yolks. Get as much of the egg white out as you can, and then place the yolk into your mixture. 1 more egg yolk. So there's 2 whole eggs, 2 whole yolks. Next, with our mixer, we're going to mix up the eggs, the butter, and the sugar together. You're going to achieve kind of a weird looking consistency. It's going to look like whipped butter, but it's going to have a bit of a darker color because of the eggs. With our dry ingredients, I've pre-measured and added in the 4 cups of flour and 2 cups of baking powder. The baking powder is going to act as a yeast. Next, we're going to pour our flour and baking powder into our dry ingredients. Try and give your 2 dry ingredients a good little mix, just to mix the baking powder all the way through. It just helps the cookies rise more evenly. So we're going to add this in. And my favorite part, you get to use your hands. So now with our hands, we're going to mix through our whipped butter, flour, baking powder, and eggs. After kneading our dough for about 5 minutes, we're going to try and achieve a consistency like this. So we're going to have a little bit of extra flour if we need, if it's greasy or if there's a bit too much butter, just to balance it out. You're going to want it to be nice and light. You should be able to rub it in your hands without it sticking to you. Now there's a lot of different options that you can do with this particular dough. In my case, I'm going to put almonds on top. So you need to boil some water and put it in a small jug. Take some fresh almonds, place it in the boiled water, and allow them to sit. By letting it sit in the hot water, it helps the skin separate, and then after a little while, you'll be able to easily peel them, and they'll look a little bit like that. Now with our dough, we've got a bunch of different options. This can make an excellent shortbread cookie, which is fun to do with your kids. You would roll it out till it's about 1/4 centimeter thick, maybe a little bit more, maybe 1/2 centimeter, depending on how fluffy and thick you'd like the cookies to be. Or in my case, I'm going to do a classic tea biscuit, so I need a small, tiny portion of the dough, about yay big. It's going to be a little bit bigger than your thumbnail. I'm going to roll them till it's nice and smooth and there's no cracks. Then I would place it on my baking tray or whatever surface I'm prepping my cookies on. Take a peeled almond. Ensure there's no peel left. And squish it down. Place it on your baking tray. Bake it for about 10-15 minutes, depending on how strong your oven is, or until they're a nice light golden brown. When they're finished cooking, you're going to get something that looks a little bit like this. let them sit and cool, then place them into a storage container. You can even freeze them for over the holiday season. Hope you enjoyed making almond biscuits with me. Feel free to add your own twist to it, add some sprinkles, have the kids put some icing on them. They are delicious. Have a good day.